Hello and welcome to my video presentation for PFTR 2323 Sport Performance Strategies. My name is Justin and this is my presentation. So essentially I got a female volleyball athlete in high school who wants to better her performance in volleyball to compete at the collegiate level. She has an offer for a position on a team and she just wants to increase her abilities and kind of give as much to the team as she can and prove that she's worthy of being on the team. So now that we know who our client is, we're going to talk a little bit about myself. Who am I? So again, my name is Justin. I'm a personal trainer, personal fitness trainer student at NATE. So I don't have any actual certifications right now, but I will by the end of April. And I do have some experience both in the kind of research and application stages of sport performance strategies, largely due to this course, but those are kind of credentials I have, and I am able to use them very effectively to design a program for this athlete. So just a quick overview of the kind of the profile of the position that she would be playing in. So she is a outside hitter, so this is a time motion analysis of the kind of activities she'd be doing. And some of the primary activities kind of involve jumping, reflex movements, so like diving or blocking. You're just moving your hands a little bit, so it's just reflex based on what's happening, and it's all very, very fast-paced. Especially when the ball is being hit, they can come down pretty fast, and you have to have really good reflexes in order to play the position properly. So as far as physiological assessments and performance goes, everything kind of plays its own role. So there's the body composition and anthropometric measures. So that's just your mass, your height, your sometimes your skin measurements. So your arms, your legs, just measurements are there. The jump test. So there's a couple different jump tests that volleyball athletes usually perform. It's the block jump and the spike jump. So these are different because obviously the block jump you just want to be high with both hands, and the spike jump you want to kind of be able to translate that height, the jump height, into a swinging motion with one arm. Agility, you just need to be able to move around the court really well, respond to kind of where the ball is being played. Speed, that kind of plays into agility a little bit. You need to be able to react very quickly and move around the court really fast with intention. So some of them do the crunch test as well, and that's kind of just to determine your core strength and your core core endurance as well. And then finally they do the overhead medicine ball throw, and that is a generally accepted way of determining your upper body power. So as far as priorities go, you want speed endurance. So like I said, it's not only having speed, but being able to use that speed throughout the game. And then I just have the references down here. The references are correlated to the bullet point that in the same order. So speed endurance, you just want to have the ability to maintain a fast level of play for the entire game. So fast and long duration. Agility, you want to be able to react very quickly, just because it's such a fast-paced game. Strength and power. Strength is kind of the foundation for power. If you don't have strength, it's really hard to develop power. And so those kind of play hand in hand. And power is important in jumping and hitting and just pushing the ball around the court. And as far as anthropometric measures go, these are really important just from a different viewpoint. You're not going to be able to develop as much power without lean muscle mass. So it's kind of just, it's something that you can't really measure directly that's going to affect gameplay, but generally a higher body mass with a lower body mass index, higher body mass with lower body fat is going to be beneficial because you're going to have that lean muscle mass that you need. So as far as injury analysis goes, there's a couple examples. Knee separation is a big one. So when you're going, when you're jumping up and then you're landing, sometimes the knees come in, and this is a pretty big problem, especially with junior high and high school female athletes. They tend to have their knees cave in, and then this creates a kind of like a shearing force on the knees. Um, and so one way to prevent that is just enforcing proper jump mechanics, and just kind of getting in the routine of landing properly. There's also just acute strains, pulls, and scrapes. So obviously, when you're diving for something, you're gonna get a bruise or a scrape on the court. You could even get like tear muscle if you're not really warmed up properly and stuff like that. So there's a few different ways to deal with that, and one of them is stretching. So a couple of preventative measures include stretching and, of course, the proper movement mechanics, not only in the jump but in other movements as well. So for the individual analysis, the athlete we have, Jessica, she has a few strengths. Her height is really good. It's quite a bit higher than the average for the rest of her team. And so her reach is actually pretty comparable to the rest of her team. Although if her jump height was higher, it would be her reach would be substantially higher just because she has such a tall standing reach, and then so her jumping reach is only comparable because of her height. Um, and her age is also a benefit here because she has so much potential. She has so much room for improvement, and so we're going to be able to see a lot of development from her, and hopefully be able to translate these couple of years, because her age is 18 and her team's average age is 20. So in those couple of years, she can make huge increases in power and reactive like agility and stuff like that, and she can really develop these areas and be a much better athlete. When it comes to room for improvements, we have mass. She is a lighter player, and since she's lighter and taller, this kind of prevents her from using any muscle mass that she might have because she obviously lacks a little bit. And so if she had some more muscle mass, more lean muscle mass, she'd be able to use it to create some power and some strength with her the movement she's performing. As far as agility goes, her scores were a little bit lower on that as well, so she could do some sprint work to work on that. Speed endurance, so it's just again playing for the entire duration of the game at a higher speed or higher rate of play. Her strength is a bit lower, especially in the front squats, and then her power is also lower, namely in the both of the jump assessments as well as the medicine ball throw. So we have a program we designed for her, and it's just going to consist of a 6-week wave strength cycle followed by a 4-week linear power cycle. And so what this is going to do is the strength cycle is going to build the foundation. It's going to kind of enforce proper movement mechanics, as well as just building the foundational strength and kind of how she should be performing these movements. And then the power cycle will kind of take from these movements and progress them a little bit and make the speed a lot faster so that she can develop some power. So, for example, in the strength cycle, she might be doing some front squats, and then in the power cycle, she might be doing some box jumps or something like that. So they're both somewhat similar in the sense that you're getting to a squat initially and exploding up. However, the speed and the load are very different. She will also be doing some speed sprints 3 times per week because this was found to actually increase the overall performance of a volleyball athlete player. Just because you're incorporating a higher motor coordination just by doing these sprints. So a sample training session for the front squats. So this will be done during the strength cycle. It's going to be controlled, slower repetitions, increasing weight to stimulate progressive overload, and we're going to work on a wrist, elbow, and shoulder dexterity because a lot of people who start front squatting, they don't have kind of the dexterity in their upper limbs to really hold onto the bar. So here's a video of me performing this with a client. In this video, I'm teaching my client how to do a front squat. So it's going to start with the front rack position, so the bar is going to be on your shoulders. And you can keep your elbows up and in. If there's any kind of wrist flexibility issues, then you're going to cross your hands over top of your shoulders so that you're touching the opposite shoulder with each hand. And then from there, you're going to make sure your feet are just slightly wider than shoulder width apart in a nice, powerful squat position. And you're going to go down into a squat, keeping those elbows nice and high. So I'm just getting my client to do a couple here, and I'm commenting on this form. This form does look pretty good, although as he gets down into it, he kind of lets his trunk curve a little bit, so he just needs to focus on tightness with his back. Alright, perfect. So I actually had to do voiceovers for these because I tried to do them twice, and the first one, the quality of the video was just really grainy, and then the second time I tried to do them, all the background noise kind of drowned out the training I was actually giving. So I had to kind of do a voiceover of the training program for each of these videos. So the next one is just going to be a thruster, so this is going to be a progression of the front squat, because it still mimics the same movement pattern, but then it's exploding upwards at the top there to incorporate the upper body a little bit and use the power from the lower body to drive the upper body. So this is going to be during the power cycle. It's going to involve explosive, faster repetitions. It's going to be a less challenging weight so that he can, so that the client can focus on speed. And we're going to continue to work on wrist, elbow, and shoulder dexterity, just because this one, in the front squat, you can cross over your shoulders. However, when you're doing a thruster, you have to have your arms on the same side of the body as you, so it's going to put a lot more strain on your wrists, elbows, and shoulders. However, we do have the first 6 weeks to kind of work on that, just to kind of get these patterns down. So here's this video. So the thruster is a powerful progression for the front squat. So what you're going to want to do is actually drop your elbows just a little bit as compared to the front squat, because you're going to be doing a press afterwards. You're going to drop down into a squat and then use the momentum from the squat to push up into a press. And then at the top here, you're just going to make sure that your arms, body, and your legs are all stacked in a nice straight line. So it's going to go down, explode up, and then kind of push your head through the window that your arms create. So then I'm just handing it off to my client here so he can give it a couple go. The flexibility in his wrists, elbows, and shoulders isn't quite ideal, so he will progress into this as we do some more stretching. The other thing I'd like to point out is he should be tightening his glutes a little bit more so it makes a nice, straight, tight position at the top. That's pretty much all I can see here. Alright, so next we have the kettlebell swings. So this will be in the strength cycle as well. So I just kind of gave an example of a front squat and a thruster, which is a progression, so a strength, and then the power progression. And then I'm going to do that again here, just for a different movement pattern. So the kettlebell swing is going to be done during the strength cycle. It's going to have nice controlled repetitions, and it's going to be a relatively high number of repetitions, just because we're not going to really be looking for a crazy amount of actual strength here. We're just looking for kind of driving that movement pattern in and strengthening the muscles, but not necessarily going for like a 1 rep max or anything like that, just because that's not really required. And this movement could lead to kind of like trunk flexion or improper movement patterns if we try and load up the kettlebell too high. So this is this video here. For kettlebell swings, you're just going to grab a kettlebell, stand with your feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart, just so you can get into a semi-squat position, as I'm going to do right about now. So you get into a squat position, keep your back nice and straight, arms are straight as well, and then you're going to squeeze your glutes at the top to get a nice straight position. And your arms are just going to go just above parallel with the ground to you don't want to be swinging it over your head or anything. It's just not really the range of motion we're looking for. So my client is doing it here, and it looks really good. I give him a cue to squeeze his glutes a little bit more, and he's doing this more in the last couple reps. Alright, perfect. And then the last video we have here is for a medicine ball slam. So this, you might see some people kind of do it without the jump. However, we are incorporating a jump here to kind of mimic the movement that you'd have during a hit in volleyball. So what you're going to do, is in the video here, but it's going to be during the power cycle. It's going to be very explosive repetitions, and then we're going to do quite a few repetitions in succession to mimic the potential playing environment in volleyball. So here's this video as well. Here I'm displaying the jumping overhead medicine ball slam. So essentially you're just going to take a medicine ball and raise it above your head. You're going to bend your elbows back so that when you do extend, you're going to get the full range of motion. Just kind of like you're throwing a ball or even just hitting a volleyball. You're going to have the full range of motion there. So what you're going to do is jump into a pike and slam it down as hard as you can by extending at your shoulders and your elbows. The pike should have your feet a bit closer together than mine right there, but my client is going to do a pretty good job of it here. Can be a bit more powerful with it, just a bit faster. And then just in this final one here, I give him the cue to bend his elbows more just to get the full range of motion. And that's kind of why he stuttered a little bit there, just to kind of get it down. Alright, and so for all these kind of exercises that I'm showing, the load, the reps, the weight, load, reps, sets, those are all going to vary just depending on the athlete's ability to currently do them. I think this is my personal opinion here, it's kind of ridiculous to make a very specific program for an athlete that you don't know entirely. So I think that you need to just be able to be aware of what the athlete already knows, what they're capable of, and what they are going to be able to learn quickly, and then build a program based on that. So the first week or two would be relatively open, and then from there we'd streamline it quite a bit more, focus in on the things that really need to be worked on, and then go from there. But these are the kind of movements that we would be doing. However, the loading reps and sets are very much dependent on what the athlete is capable of and what her movement mechanics look like. So those haven't been included here, but they would be adapted to the athlete's abilities. So in conclusion, the athlete Jessica has a very large amount of potential given her age and her relative, just her age compared to her team. She's 18 years old as compared to 20, and so she has quite a bit of time to progress to an elite collegiate level. And clearly she's already playing at a very high level since she's been recruited by that team. And so the way we're going to maximize this potential is by planning, and this planning is going to happen largely in the first couple of weeks of training, just because, like I said, we can't really plan for something if we don't know everything about the athlete that we're training. And the main focuses are going to be on power and strength. However, agility training will be a part of it as well, with those sprints that I mentioned that are going to be 3 times per week. I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. So these are just the references I used, and that is the whole presentation. Thank you so much for watching.